Okay, so the second episode of our webinar series is the FE Exam Decoded. And in this presentation, we will be looking at a registration, the eligibility, the format, and what surprises most people. Okay, so at the end of the talk, we will look at, as I mentioned, who can register for the FE exam, and then how to do it step by step. What you walk into the exam expecting, and then the topic breakdown and what's actually surprise people. So I'll go to the next slide. Who can register for the FE exam? First and foremost, we have different categories of people based on your situation that makes you eligible to register for the exam. The first is if your engineering degree is from an accredited, IBET accredited program. Most states in the US allow you to register directly from the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying website without any further review or evaluation. You can just register there. The other group is if you are in the final year in the US, National Council allows you to register for the exam as well. And then also there are some universities in the US here that may not be accredited. If your university is not accredited or your program is not accredited, then you have to go through the evaluation, which the state will require. And so most of the states will require you to do a credential evaluation, and National Council does the evaluation. You just would have to pay a fee for that. Okay, the fourth category of people who can register for the exam here is the international engineer. And international engineer here means that if you have your education from a different country other than the US, then you might be falling into the fourth category. In any case, you just would have to do an evaluation required by the state. So your transcript, your course details will have to be submitted directly from your school to National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying, and they will perform the evaluation. You would pay $400 to the National Council for the evaluation, and if you request for additional re-evaluation, you pay $100 fee. Okay, next, okay, let's look at how to register for the So the first step, but before the first step is you checking with the state. Checking with the state to ensure that you qualify to register for the exam is the first thing you have to do. So number one, you need to check with the board requirement. If you live in New Jersey or New York or Illinois, each state is different. So you'd want to check the board requirements. So that's number one. If you confirm that you are eligible, then you can proceed to the next stage. This, I would show you how we do this. If we have time, we can go to the website and do some illustrations. So second step is for you to create an account. Your My NCEES account. After you have ensured that, or you have verified and you are very confident that your state board allows you to write the exam, the second thing is to create your account at ncees.org. And if you go to the website, as I have shown here, you click on the red arrow as I'm pointing there, My NCEES. After that, it takes you to the next page here you log in or you create an account. If you don't have an account, you have to click on this link here, as I'm showing with a red arrow, my NCEES. And then it will redirect you to the next page. And the next page here, if you have an account already, you log in. If you don't have an account, you create an account. And then you continue to the next page here where you fill in this form and then you submit. So it's a very simple process. This takes less than 5 minutes at max to do this, to create an account on my NCEES. So next, after you have created an account with NCEES, then you can now log in into your account. If you log in, the first thing is to go into exams. And then if everything looks good here, as I have shown, this is from my account, my personal account. So I took some screenshots here just to illustrate to you. You click on exams, and then if everything looks good, here your contact information, your personal information, your education, everything has to be correct. If this place is not updated within the past 90 days, you have some alert here. What did I? Okay. So here, okay, next. Here, if everything looks okay, then you click on this register for an exam. Okay. So if you click on register for an exam, it will take you to the next page. Here on the next page, you will see this fundamentals of engineering, principles and practice of engineering, and others. What you would select is the fundamentals of engineering, if that is what you are supposed to write. This place, I have everything shown red because it's saying that exam of this type has already been passed because I already passed the exam. But for you, you'd select this one where I'm showing the arrow here. Select this one. And you go to the next. If you select that, it will take you to the process. You continue the process and then until you get to the payment of the $225 to register for the exam. So if everything looks good, you will have the exam as available. This one I'm showing on my PE page. If I click on the PE, it takes you to this. And it's saying that exam of this type has been passed because I already passed this. So this is canceled out for me. What is available is the only thing you can register for the exam. Okay, so does anyone has a question up to this level? We have looked at the first step, which is to check state eligibility requirement, if you are permitted to write the exam or not. The second is to create the account. Once you have the NCEES account created, then you would have to log in and then go to exams, select the type of exams. If it is available, then you register. At this point, does anyone has a question? Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, good.
In my NCEES page, it asks me for on my record application prerequisites. It also asks for the exam and license verification and professional references. Do I also need that to sign up for the exam, or is that separate?
No, that is separate. That will come later on. So the first thing is to register for the exam and then write the exam before you would think about the references. But it's a good question. So maybe we can keep on going, and then once we are done, I'll leave everything for the Q&A part. Let's move to the next. Yeah. So next, let's keep it to the question and answer so that it's more. We can conclude the section early and then have a look at the questions. So yeah, the second one is looking at the testing window. There are 4 testing windows. You have January to March, April to June, July to September, and then October to December. And so you only would have to pick a testing window within each of these categories and then register for the exam and then complete the process. You have to bear in mind that you only have 3 attempts for the entire year. And if you did not pass, let's say between January to March, then you can only register for the next testing window. And then you cannot do this more than 3 times. And so if there's the need for you to do any cancellation, you need to cancel the exam or reschedule ahead of time. Other than that, you would forfeit refund. But if you're able to request for cancellation, you get your money back minus $50 processing fee. Okay, let's look at the format for the exam. You have 110 questions in all. This is for a total period of 6 hours. The exam itself is for 5 hours, 20 minutes. But before you start the exam, you would go through the non-disclosure agreement where you would agree not to say anything or disclose what you have seen, the questions you have seen. You would agree not to disclose it to the public. So this is very important. It will take you like 2 minutes to go through that process. And then you get seated, you go through the tutorials, the computer interface, go through all the steps. There will be a demo for you to watch and see how to answer the questions. And then you also have some time to go for break if you want to use the restroom or you want to just take a walk outside a bit and come back. That is also within the 6 hours. Okay. The other thing you must know about the format for the exam is it's a computer based. So which means that all of us, I'm sure, have taken a computer exam before, computer based exam. So you would come to the exam without a paper or a pencil from your house. Those will be provided at the center. So you don't actually need to bring anything other than your calculator. So let's look at the next. You would also be provided the handbook. You will not be able to bring any personal notes or books from your house. So if you have been doing hand calculations in your own notebook, that is fine. But bear in mind, you cannot go into the testing room with it. The only reference that will be provided is the NCEES FE Reference Handbook. So there's about more than 800 pages document that you need a lot of familiarity with. Another important thing you must know about the exam is approved calculators. So in 2017 calculator list approved, if you go to the NCEES website, you would see this list here. You have FX, the Cashew, FX 115, FX 991 models. You can bring any of those models to the center. Any Cashew calculator must be FX 115 or FX 991. Okay, this screenshot I took it from NCEES website, so very important. And if you're coming with Texas Instrument, it should also be TI 30X or TI 36X models. If you come with any other model that is not accepted, it's most likely they will not permit you to write with a calculator. You can write the exam, but without a calculator, and that's going to be challenging. Okay, once you are done with the exam and you pass, you would receive your results within 7 to 10 business days. There is no specific percentage for a pass or fail. You would all receive your results, and the results will display pass or fail. In case, unfortunately, you fail the exam, you will receive a diagnostic report, and that will show you each of the areas that you did well and the areas that you did not perform. Okay, let's now look at the exam itself, the breakdown of the topics that you will be asked. You have mathematics, from 11 to 17 questions within this range. Nobody knows how many questions will come, but it's given within a range. And probability and statistics, you have this. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but as you can see here, mathematics carries a lot of weight. Circuit analysis carries equal weight as mathematics. And then you have electronics up to 11 questions and power up to 12 questions. You also have digital systems up to 12 questions. So these are the heavy areas that you might want to pay attention to, but without neglecting any other areas. Most people have the chance or the likelihood of not passing the exam, not because they did not do well, but because maybe they focus on other areas and left some other areas, and that will lead you to fail. And so myself, I made that kind of mistake by focusing on areas that I felt more comfortable learning, and then I left some areas out. And so when I received my first test and I failed, the diagnostic report shows that there are some areas I even exceeded the average. I got like everything correct, and then there's some areas I did not get everything. So that actually will make you fail. Okay, now let's look at what surprises most engineers. Number one of them, we have to bear in mind that there are some things that nobody will tell you about, which is okay because people come out of the exam. It is non-disclosure. You don't want to say so many things about it. And so that is fine, but we need to know. You need to know that the handbook is harder to navigate than you expect. Even though it is an open book, you have a reference handbook of like 800 plus pages. Bear in mind that if you have that huge document, to navigate through and find one formula to help you solve a question is going to be very challenging if you have not gone through the handbook. So the handbook is actually harder to navigate than you would expect. It's something that you should know. Okay. So here I have it. Everyone knows it exists, but very few people practice navigating through that efficiently. And the examination practice, we all know what will happen is that you have pressure, and then spending like 10 minutes or more looking for something is going to cost you a lot. Okay, next thing is that the computer-based test feels different from paper practice. This is very true. If you are used to working in your book, solving all the questions during the learning process, and then you never practice solving the questions on a computer, going to the exam and seeing all your questions on the screen is going to be very challenging for you. So I know that almost all of us have gone through this, but it comes with a lot of practice. Time pressure is real at 110 questions. Bear in mind that it's 6 hours, but you don't have all the 6 hours. You have 5 hours, 20 minutes. And then this, if you break this down, roughly you have like 2 minutes to solve each question. Some questions you can solve this within a minute. Even some of the questions you might solve them in 30 seconds. Some questions too, you might spend more than 5 minutes thinking about it. In that case, you just have to skip. If you spend more than 2 minutes on a question, the next thing is to skip. Okay. Some topics feel foreign even to experienced engineers. And this is very true. Most of us already in the industry, we have different things that we do. Some are in the power industry, some might be even in power industry, there's a lot of things that we do, right? So you might be in a protection division, or you might be in even automation. Some people will be working in maybe IT or something different. So the fact that you have been in the industry for that long doesn't mean that you would remember everything that you studied back in school when you were pursuing your bachelor's degree. So FE questions are mostly based on the bachelor's degree. So working in power for 10 years does not mean you know communication or signal processing. You need to revise it. The exam covers all electrical engineering disciplines, not just your specialty. One additional thing is the emotional weight is very real. Why? Because this comes with anxiety. And I have spoken with many people and even myself. If you have graduated from the past, let's say the past 5 years or 10 years, then that means that it's a long time you took an exam of this kind. And so there's that kind of emotional stress and anxiety. But it is very normal to feel that way. The only solution to this is practice with simulation, doing computer-based testing, and getting familiarity with the exam format. Okay, so we are coming to the end of our presentation, and then we'll be open to question and answers. For this section, what are the takeaways? Number one, the FE exam is open than you think. If you are in the final year, you can register for this exam because most state boards allow you to do that. But you can always check on the state board requirement before you proceed to NCEES. And then also, there's a fee to pay. This is not free. The only free thing here is a creating free account. But other than that, this is an investment towards your career. So you will pay 225 to NCEES before you can register for the FE. And then if you are registering for the PE, it also comes with a separate cost. And if you have to do evaluation, it also comes with a cost. But before you go through all of this, you would want to check first your eligibility with the state. And then also you want to know your strength or what is your assessment or your readiness, your agency, your commitment to this undertaking. And so for that, I have created like a very simple tool on ShaiLearning. If you go on ShaiLearning, check PE assessment tool. It's on the page. You click on that. You can select your track, FE or PE, and then just go through the process, and then you would receive an assessment that shows your readiness level. Okay, we've also briefly talked about the handbook. The handbook is a tool. I would in future make a different section where we'll go deep into the handbook and some specific things. But we have talked about the handbook. It is the only tool that you have. Very, very important. Only benefit you get from that handbook is you getting familiarity with it. And so your action for today or this week is for you to create your account. It is free. Create the account and then download the handbook and start going through, getting some familiarity with it. And so let's do this before next week when we will look at a different topic, why most people fail the FE exam. Okay, at this point, we are done with our section and we have some few minutes before the question and answers. So I can show you on the web. I can go on the browser and then we'll do some quick check. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me stop sharing and then share a different screen. Okay, let's do this. Oh, okay, I have this. Maybe this will be useful for you. Let me do this. Share. Okay. Let me know once you can see my screen again. Okay. think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. So let me know once you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go to the home page of my NCEES, like as I was talking. So first, when you're on the home page here, you go to here, my NCEES at the top here. That's the first thing. And then you can click on this. It takes you here. And then you click on this one, my NCEES. It takes you here. I already have an account. If you don't have an account, you create an account by clicking on this. And then you complete this form here and then you submit. I can't create a duplicate, so you can do this on your own. Do this. And what I want to show you is that you come to FE, you can come to FE here. Well, let's check the state eligibility. Click on FE. And then here you have the exam details here. It tells you all the things I have talked about here, right? You have exam time, 5 hours, 20 minutes. Non-disclosure agreement, 2 minutes. All of this, we have talked about that. And then the exam fee is 125. You pay directly to NCEES. Okay. And one thing also I forgot to mention is that once you are done with the registration with NCEES, you will receive an authorization to pick a center. So you can look through that. You have a lot of centers that you can pick. You just enter your location. So for instance, let's say if I go here, right, you can check and then pick a center, right? This is asking me to agree to something, right? Okay, agree. So here we can find a testing center by clicking on this, and then you enter your address. Let's say I'll just enter any address. Let me enter any address. Let's say I'll just enter any address here and say Illinois, right? And enter this. And then you see, once you enter, you will find a lot of testing centers that are closer to your area. And then you can pick one of them and then register for the exam. So that is one thing you have to do if you want. After you have paid the fee, you get the authorization, you need to pick a center. And then picking the center is where you pick the window. You need to pick the window, the time you want to pick. Okay, let's go to the states. What I want to show you here, you need to check state eligibility, exam registration, and requirement by state. You have all the states here. You can either select by navigating through this one. If you put a cursor on it, this shows you that this is Nebraska. This is Illinois. You have New York here, New Jersey, right? If you don't want to use this one, you can select this, go to the drop down, select, let's say, Florida, and then it gives you the Florida requirement and registration details. So let's start. We'll do 2 examples. Let's see this one. Florida says what? Exam registration and authorization. The Florida Engineering Board does not require examinees to submit an application prior to registering with NCEES and scheduling an FE exam. Examinees may register for their exams by creating a My NCEES account. So that's the first thing I talk about. You need to check the state. So the states are different. You need to know the requirement. This state is saying that you don't need, the board doesn't need to check anything. So create an account and then you can proceed. But you need to bear in mind that after you write the exam and you pass, you would come back to the state. 2 things here. The state is the one that gives you the license, but the exam is handled under National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. So these are the 2 things. Even though NCEES has their requirements and some things, but the board is the one that gives you the final or the license. And so even here it's saying that you don't have requirement. It's no requirement to write the exam, but after the exam, you would have to come back to the state and then fill out the state process and everything. Okay. So this state doesn't require you to, they don't have any typical requirement. If you go under scheduling, it's saying that examinees register and schedule appointment through their My NCEES account. So during the registration process, examinees select their exam location. I have already talked about that. Next, they are presented with a list of available exam dates. I have also talked about that. Once you pick a location, you see how busy the place is, if you have time, or if the center has slots for you to register. If there's no slot, then you need to pick a different testing center. There are many around. Okay, if examinees are not happy with the choices, they can browse through the available dates at my NCEES approved test location, as I mentioned. Here, I also mentioned this, you have 7 to 10 business days. Here, you look at the cancellation, refer to the section on computer-based exams in my NCEES examinee guide for information about cancellation refund. So even if we click here, it takes us here to the guide, right? And then we can look at the guide. And the guide here tells you the fees, right? Everything about the fee and the rest. So yeah, this, you can also take a look at this. Now let me go back to check a different state. Let's check New York. So I'm gonna check New York here. New York here. I click on the map. It comes with New York. And with New York, you see you have the details here. Okay, New York requirement. If you meet one of the criteria listed in items number 1 or 2 below, you are no longer required to obtain approval from New York board. So you see, New York is also different here. You need to check if you meet any of this requirement, then you don't need approval. But if you don't meet any of this requirement, then you need an approval. And for foreign engineers, those who have a bachelor's degree in outside US and not have like a master's or a different engineering degree in the US here, and even if your program is not accredited, then you need to go through here. All foreign and non-ABET education programs, students and applicants who are not enrolled in or have not graduated from an engineering accreditation commission or ETAG or ABET accredited baccalaureate program must submit an application with $70 fee to New York board. Okay, so simple and short, if you don't meet this requirement, you need to submit $70 to New York board to register if New York is the state that you want to go with. Okay, so this is this here. Okay, I still have like 8 minutes before we go to the question and answers. Let me show you another thing. Okay, I can go in here and check. Let's check this here. ShaiLearning.com. I talk about the assessment tool. Maybe it's good for some people. So if you click here, assessment tool here, it opens this. And so you can select either FE or PE, either of this. So let's say FE, and then you go through this. You fill out this and you go to the next, right? You go to next. Next is 5 basic process. And then once you are done, you submit and you receive a report about your readiness and how many weeks it might take you based on approximate calculation on the things you selected, your strength, for the knowledge areas. So based on that, it will calculate some weeks that you might need 8 or 12 weeks or maybe 20 weeks to write the exam. Okay, later on, I'll make a video about how to use this simple tool. But if you have time, you can take a look. Okay, what else do I want to show you again? Okay, I don't mind. Okay, I don't want to log into my account now, but I can do that later on when I don't show confidential things, and then I can share that video. At this point, I will leave it up to here, and then we'll go back to question and answer section in the next 5 minutes or so. Yeah, but if you have a question, you can start. You can ask your question. Okay. Let me do this.
Oops. Hello.
What? You can go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my question was: so before you can ask your state whether you can take the exam, do you have to first do the evaluation of your qualifications before?
Okay. That's a very, very good question. So, yeah, so the evaluation of your education doesn't come immediate, right? First is to check with the state. How do you check? You can do it two ways. You can, if let's say New York, you can reach out to New York, or simple and short, like I just demonstrated, you go on my ncees.org and then you select the exam, like I showed FE, and then it gives you the map, right? And then you select the state, and then it gives you the immediate requirement. If the state doesn't require you, then you create your my NCEES account, and then from there you can register for the exam. You don't have to do anything. The evaluation will come when you have passed the exam, because number one, the state says they don't require you. So pass the exam first. Once the exam is done, the next thing is to do the evaluation, because you can pass both FE and PE, and if you don't submit your documents to the board, you don't get your license, right? So it is when you are due to get the license or to pursue the license itself after the examination is when you do the evaluation. So the evaluation comes later on. But if the state requires you to do an evaluation before taking the exam, that is when you would have to submit your transcript, not you submitting it in person from your from let's say going to UPS and posting it. If you post it yourself, it will not be accepted. You must post the transcript and your degree, the details of the courses you took through your school, through your the university that you attended. And then you can always do this by reaching out to your school. There's a way to do it. Later on, I can make a video and show you. But you reach out to the school, and then the school will send you, give the details of where they must transmit your transcript and those things to, and then you send it there. Most universities, even now, it is online. You can just go and request for your transcript, and then ask the destination where the transcript is supposed to go, and then you ship it there. The school will ship it there. So that is how the process is. I hope that answers you. This is what it was. That Vincent who asked the question.
No, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's my question.
Okay, Kader, you can ask the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah,
Was that your
I asked
question
the
or
question.
Vincent?
Yes, that was
Oh,
my
okay,
question.
okay, Kader.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think someone
My
has a question.
question.
Okay.
My question was, how do I access the handbook that would be given out to, during the FE exam?
Yeah, so the handbook, once you create your account, you can
Hmm.
now download the handbook. The
Yeah,
handbook is
where
in
do
your
I do?
account.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's in your account. Let me see if I can log in into my account. I can show you. Let me see.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, but someone, if you have a question, you can ask. Whilst I'm looking for it. I have it, but the handbook is has copyright issues, so that's why I'm not showing it here. But I have it downloaded. I have used it, so you would just need to create an account before you can download it.
Yeah, I already created
I think
an
so.
account.
You already created it, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, let me search for it. Where they save it. Okay. If you go on your dashboard, you have a lot
Okay.
of resources, the useful resources. You can see PE schedule guide. This is download examiner guide. Let me see this one. This one goes to the Okay, the one I already showed. But let me see. Oh, okay, I have seen it. Okay, let me show you. Let me share my screen again and show you. Good. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Share my screen. So once you have your account, I think it's this one. Let me know if you can see my screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is my account. So you go here, you see here useful resources here, and then you click on the last one, view reference handbooks. So you click on this, and then here you can see FE, PE, all of them are here, right? So you click on FE, let's say electrical, FE handbook. So here, this one, the first one.
Okay.
This, if you click this one, it will download. You see, mine is downloaded here. That's all.
Got it.
Okay. So that's how you do it. Okay, any other question? These are good questions, yeah.
So
That's the question. Okay. Yeah.
This handbook contains the procedural information or the study data as well?
So the handbook contains all the formulas, the tables, everything you need like an assistant. So it's just giving you like a reference. So if you have a question on, let's say, a question and the probability, you would want to refer to let's say a formula in probability, right? You would want to refer. If you remember the formula, then you don't need a handbook. If you remember the formula, you might not even need a handbook. I'm not a big fan of using formulas, right? So like because it takes time to check all of this, right? So I can show you. Let me do this. I'm gonna share my screen and show you what I'm talking about. Oh, okay. My screen is still shared. Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay. So this is a reference handbook. You see, it gives you let's say unit and conversion factors. Kinetic energy, it gives you the formula. Potential energy gives you the formula, right? And then it gives you all these metric prefixes, significant numbers. It gives you all of this, you see? All of this. So in the exam, if you don't remember something, you can just make quick reference. You can go and check, where do I have to? You see here, ethics and professional practice, right? So if you come here, it talks about ethics, about how you practice as an engineer, what your things are supposed to do, things you're not supposed to do, and the rest. So that's the purpose of the handbook. It gives you all the topics about the knowledge areas that I talk about. This is ethics and professional practice. You see here, it talks about safety. And so, yeah, symbols, some of these symbols, maybe they ask you about this symbol, what does this symbol illustrate, and then maybe you have forgotten it, you can make a reference. But this is a huge document that you would want to be familiar with. Yeah. Okay.
So if someone has read this handbook, he's ready to take the exam, right?
Yeah, if you have gone through this handbook, so now there are things you need to know. You need, NCEES has a lot of resources, right? Let me show you. If you come here and FE, and even, let's say you go under the exam, okay, come down here. See, FE electrical and computer, you select this. This gives you the knowledge areas that I talk about. Mathematics, 11 to 17 questions, probability and statistics. You see here, ethics and professional practice, they will ask you maximum 6 questions. But you need resources. NCEES has like books that you can buy, exams books that you can buy, practice books. You can buy practice books from NCEES and practice the questions. They will ask you like similar questions that will come in the exam. And so you see here, let's say practice exam. If I click on this, practice exam. Here they gave you like FE for, let's say, electrical should be down here. This one. If I click on this, I can add to cart and I buy this. I have this one actually. So you can buy this one and look at the questions, how they ask the questions and the rest. Right? And here they talk about the guide. They talk about some exams in the past, maybe. So exam prep writer. There are some questions that came in the exams that were not correct. So they try to correct it. So let's say we go to FE. Electrical is this one. And then you can see that some questions they said, this question number 3 is like this, da 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 da. Okay, and then they solve it. So let's keep it here and see. Any other question? So to answer you need a study material. You need study material. You need practice test resources, and then you need to practice on your own. And then you need a reference handbook during the exam. If you don't remember something, the reference handbook will help you to remember it. Okay.
I have a question. For the international students, you have said like we have to pay some $400 of fee in order to verify the transcript and things. Is it like for a one FE exam, or if we are taking, if we don't get passed in the first attempt and if we are trying to go with the second attempt again, do we have to pay that $400 fee for the transcript?
No, the $400 fee, you pay it once. The $400 fee is for your credential evaluation. You pay it once.
Okay.
Right? And if you want them to do re-evaluation, you pay $100. So once is $400, re-evaluation is $100. But your question, what you are trying to say is that let's say you wrote the FE for the first one, you pay $22.25, and then that $225. Let's say you did not pass the exam, and then you want to write the exam again, then you have to pay another $225 again.
Yeah, but not the $400 for evaluation.
But right? Not the 400, not the 400.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
How much is the total cost of like getting the license of PE?
I think it should cost. So we can do the math right now. You at the exam FE is $225, right? And so let's say that you are from, let's say, India. You did a bachelor's in India and you don't have any masters in the US. So you pay $225, and then you pay the evaluation. So evaluation comes later on. So don't worry about the evaluation, but we can add it. $225, and then you pay the let's say that you are buying the book I just showed you, the $50. That one is $50. And then let's say you are taking some external courses to write the exam. They might charge you for that, and then you pay that. So at the end of the day, you are gonna pay in all. Let's say you spend about $2,000. $2,000. But for the exam itself, if you are not using any resources outside, it's just $225. But if you are using external, you would have to buy books. You would have to pay for other things to pass the exam. Most companies, I know, they pay for their employees, so it's usually not a big problem at that level. Yeah, does that answer you correctly?
Yeah.
I have put some estimate. If you go on ShaiLearning.com, I have put some estimates there based on if you are preparing to take the exam, how much it might cost you. Yeah. Okay. Do we have additional question? I think, John, you wanted to ask a question earlier on.
I didn't ask any question. I just listening.
So
okay.
once we have get the license from any of state of America, so it will be acceptable in all of the America, in all states, or what?
No. So yeah, this is very good question too. No, no state is no state is the same in the US. So if you have a license, let's say in New Jersey, it does not apply to New York. It applies to only New Jersey. So you are limited to the state. Yeah. If you want to get license for another state, then you have to apply what we call a committee. And then once you apply that, you would go through another process and get your license. So let's say, for instance, me, I got my first in New Jersey and I applied to Pennsylvania and got it, and applied to Illinois and got it. But it's a different process for each one of them. For instance, when I applied to Illinois, they did not ask for my background check like a police report. But when I asked for Pennsylvania, they asked for my background check like police report or criminal records, you know. So every state is different. Okay, John, you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question. Is the 10.6 version for the FE handbook the latest version?
Yeah, that's the latest version. The latest version is always the one on the website. So you always would want to check what is the most updated one from the website. In the past, I have others, but they have always been revising them. So you always would want to go for the latest before you write the exam.
Sounds good.
Great.
Last question for me. If you pass the FE exam in one state and move to another state, do you have to do the FE exam for that state too, or it can carry over from the last one?
Yeah, the FE exam will always, you don't need so once you pass FE, it's the same exam, right? It's National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. So it's the same that carries across different states. So if you pass the FE, let's say in Illinois, it's the same FE exam. So let's say you move to California, you can continue with the PE exam there. And then once you are done and you want to apply to get the actual license, that is when you would complete the state process, the state board process. So, but the exam is the same.
Okay.
Okay, so if we are moving to any other state, so this PE exam will be like, we can use this as a prerequisite to get the license in any other state, or we again have to go for the
yes,
exam?
the same exam. Yeah, the same exam. But the only difference is that you would have to apply to the state board, which has different requirements. Some of them might ask you something, like I mentioned, maybe do a background check, criminal records. Some other states might not even ask you. So as I mentioned, Illinois, they did not ask, but maybe in future they might ask. And then Pennsylvania asks, I need to complete that process and then submit before I actually got the approval. So the exam is different, and then the board is also different. But the most important is to write the exam first, and then you carry the next process on. Okay. We are left with 2 minutes to end our section, but I think today's section is very, very great. And everybody participated so well. And so next week, we will look at why engineers fail the FE exam. This is very important too. So we'll continue this every week till we complete all the 9 webinar series. Okay, at this point, if no one has a question, I think we can conclude
How
today.
we can reach?
Thank you.
How we can reach to the last webinar?
Or the last webinar, once you have attended this one, automatically I will send you invite for the next one. You don't have to do anything.
No, the last one which you already like.
The last one is on the website. Let me share the link for you. The last one is on this website. Let me share the link right now. You can watch it here. Okay, if you go on ShaiLearning videos, recorded videos, and the recorded videos, I have it here. Let me send the link to you. So the link is in the chat right now. Okay. Here.
Okay.
So that's the first one. Okay. But the subsequent one, once you attend the first one, you get a automatic invite to the other ones. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thank you.
so much for joining today.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Goodbye.